It's Haute Couture Fashion Week in Paris, filled with luscious luxury designs from labels competing for the global uber wealthy who are attending these shows alongside the fashion press. Joining us with the latest from the Paris runways is WSJ fashion columnist Christina Binkley. Hi, Christina. How is Paris? Has the heat wave subsided?
Well, if you call 80 degrees a heat wave, I wasn't as impressed with the heat as some other people.
Right. This is fine. I'm from California, right? But at least the catwalks we know are hot. You say after years of shrinking that this haute couture calendar is bulging again.
It is. As a matter of fact, there are so many new labels trying to get onto the calendar and get time in there that I took to having to interview people and research who they were before I could decide what my schedule was going to be. There's just a plethora of new labels.
So I'm curious because fashion shows are often barometers of global fortunes. What changes in nationalities are you noticing?
Well, the Russians are almost completely gone. I think there may be 3 Russians in town. I'm exaggerating maybe slightly. You know, a few years ago, Russians were really driving the haute couture market in a big way. Now, believe it or not, I'm seeing a lot more Americans, and I'm hearing increasingly from the designers that they have more American women coming through and ordering haute couture, which is really interesting because Americans have been slow. We don't have a long tradition of doing that,
yeah.
and that's really quite new.
And as you said, there are new labels showing. What does it take for a label to be invited? There are strict rules to all of this, right, Christina?
Oh, very strict. It starts with the rules that you can make this stuff. You have to, for instance, hand sew it. It's supposed to be sewn in Paris by very specially trained seamstresses and tailors. But you know, in addition to that, they make designers prove themselves. So, for instance, Ulyana Sergenko is a Russian designer. She came here several years ago and just sort of popped up and held shows without being on the calendar. So they were unofficial, kind of under the radar. She did that and got untold amounts of money doing that for several years before they gave her an invitation to appear on the calendar. She's not a member of the association. That could take many more years, but she's been invited now. And, you know, we've got 24 other labels trying to do the same thing.
A coveted invitation, no doubt. All right, let's talk about some of your favorites so far. Giambattista Valli, for one.
That was, you know, he's such a master, that guy. He's relatively new on the haute couture calendar, by the way. He's a member, but it's only been a few years. He does something with very old-fashioned techniques that makes him so modern, so powerful and timeless. It was mesmerizing. He had sort of electric oranges and lime colors in there and very traditional shapes. He did 5 dresses at the end that each had 500 meters of fabric in them.
Gorgeous.
It was unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, those designs are just so luxurious and gorgeous. And speaking of luxury, what about that classic luxury French label Chanel?
Which went unclassic for the first looks in that. Karl Lagerfeld is obsessed with whatever is new, whatever is sort of the techie front, and so he started experimenting with that tweedy look that we know for Chanel, but he did it with 3D printing. So these were 3D printed jackets, very light. You would think, I mean, this is, you know, we've seen guns and shoes 3D printed. I hadn't seen anything like this before. Each of these jackets look like they weighed a matter of a few ounces. Beautiful.
Oh, intriguing. I guess you could wear it in the summer. It'd be light and easy. What about Margiela?
Oh, that was funny. Margiela is now designed by John Galliano, for those who are living on the edge of fashion every day. John Galliano used to be known for his Christian Dior sort of beautiful gowns. He's now doing the ultimate of weirdness. This was like a cast from Alice in Wonderland. It was cool, a little bit derivative of a few designers like Comme des Garçons that we've seen in the past, with sort of sleeves, extra sleeves on garments and weird. This is stuff for the museum, though. You're not going to see any of us walking down the street in it.
So what is the scene there like with people who actually buy the clothes sitting next to the press? Does it make it a little different?
My favorite moment actually was at Chanel when the woman sitting next to me in a beautiful Chanel haute couture outfit pulled a little dog, a tiny dog, out of her bag, and then pulled a wee-wee pad out of her bag, placed it on the runway, and sat the dog on the runway. I swear. If you don't believe me, look at my Instagram. I got a photo.
I absolutely believe you, Christina. Have fun. It looks like you have a beautiful suite there in Paris. Enjoy. We all wish we could be there with you.
I wish you could too.
Thank you, Christina.